while she's going to share the meeting minutes in the Zoom chat. So everyone on the call should have access to these minutes that she's sharing. And so everyone should be able to edit the meeting minutes as we go. Please do. If you have topics or work in progress or questions on how to build the site with Jekyll or build the site with Gatsby or what have you, that now is the time to build the agenda for what we're going to talk about for the next 50 minutes or so. For those of you who are new on the call for the first time, very nice to see you all. It would be even nicer to get to know you a little bit, to get acquainted. If you don't mind, if you're new on the call, please say hi. Please just take a moment to introduce yourself and say where you're from and what you're interested in or what have you.
Hi. This is Subhas. I'm from India, Pune. I work with Cognizant Technologies as a senior architect. My interested in Java technologies. Last 19 years, I'm working with these technologies and frameworks and cloud native architectures with open source like Spring-based applications. Nowadays, I'm looking for the open source. I want to contribute something to the open source. So by the way, I got it. So this is my past meetings. I saw you people have done many things. I would like to start contributing something to that. Yeah, that is about me.
Nice. Subhash, that's fantastic. I think the only, actually, Fanji, it's nice to hear from you. I actually haven't heard audio from you in a while, but I'm not sure if your microphone is off mute on purpose or not.
Sorry, it is not audible?
No, actually, you are, but the other, but Fanji, Ricard. Hey, Fanji, I figured I'd. Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, we were just getting some feedback on Fanji's line, so I thought I would call it out. I thought I'd call it out because Fanji's been a member of the community for a long time, and isn't always able to connect over audio, and so. But yeah, so sorry. So Subhash, sorry, we got interrupted there, but just very nice to have you. Thanks for that introduction. Made a ton of sense.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah. This particular, you're welcome to come to all the calls and more. I'll probably poke you on the side, chat with you a little bit to try to introduce you to a couple of different calls, and depending upon your interests, you might be really interested in the things that we're speaking of here, or it might turn out that you're even more interested in some of the back-end systems that are being, or the back-end portions of some of the projects as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Like,
nice.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Thanks.
And don't let me don't take that as a deterrent from front-end things. Do put your fingers on whatever you want to put your fingers on. Like that's good. Cool. Oh, very good. And then well, all of the other names on the list are Augustine. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to. Have you introduced on this call before?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. This is my first time on the call.
Awesome.
Yes, I would say I'm a newbie. I'm a Python / Django developer, and also I'm into UI UX and front end. So I'm just everywhere. I'm from Nigeria.
Nice.
I'm excited to.
Good. Okay. We won't hold it against you that you're from Nigeria, and I say that in the most joking of ways, because because there are many Africans in the community, and it's pretty fantastic. And we've just been trying to keep count of how many are from East Africa and how many are from West Africa. And so right now it's the West Africans, I think, that are winning. There's by
Yeah, we're
number.
keeping a very frequent score, apparently. All right. Thank you for taking it on, Lee. I'm sorry for being a few minutes late. If you don't see your name in this list, please do go ahead and add it. If you don't see it, it's probably because I missed out on it. That's my fault. Um, the meeting minutes are communal. I think everything else has been covered pretty well by you already, so I won't bore you. Moving on, we're 10 minutes in. I'm not sure if Lee introduced the meeting or not, but I usually do. So I'll take another minute to do that. In the websites call, we basically go ahead and discuss any issues pertaining to the Layer5 websites. We have 5 on live projects currently. Um, if you're not aware of the projects, or if you're not completely haven't seen the projects yet, um, signal on the chat. I'll send you links to the websites. You can go peruse it as we discuss the other issues today. We have a pretty good agenda today, so let's start. Dhanaj, you want to take this up?
Yeah, let me just share my screen.
Yeah. Let me just go ahead.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, this was the features component which one I wanted to add, which from the other side, most of the work is done, I guess. Apart from that, in this page, I need to add the hero here, which I didn't get the time this week because uh, mm, that's it basically.
It sort of speaks for itself. That's pretty awesome. Wow. Do i- i- right now? Let's see. I
Um, your mic is not.
Yeah, no, sorry. Uh, I was going to mute Ayush just for a moment. Ayush, there was a lot of feedback on your line. So, but Ayush Bansal, thank you for coming. It was very nice to see you. Tanuj, do you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Hey,
Yeah, I was having some volume issues, audio issues, so I kind of rejoined.
oh, nice. Oh, thanks for coming. That was Ayush. Have you been on one of these calls before?
No, this is my first website call.
Nice. Did you want to? Oh, that's great. You're in good company. There's a few folks who are on for the first time. Do you want to take just a moment to introduce yourself? Just
Yeah, sure.
okay.
So, hi guys, I am Ayush Bansal. I am currently a final year student at IIT Guwahati and currently looking forward to learn and contribute to the community. Like, I haven't been much explored the open source. Like, I have started last December I tried, but got busy with some internship. So this time I'm fully committed to explore open source with Layer5.
I'm pumped. Okay. Yeah, you're not the only one here from IIT Guwahati either.
Yeah,
Uh,
Raghav Agarwal. Actually, he's the one who introduced me to this community.
oh, cool.
Yeah,
Good deal. Good deal. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I usually make silly jokes about that kind of a thing. That's great. Ayush, very nice to have you. We'll have to chat soon. Oh, well, very good. Well, so to Nuj, on what the progress that you're showing here on the page, just for context for everyone else, one of the projects one of the projects that we have for the websites that are here is each Yeah. Shriti is sending a list of what those are. The one that Tanuj is showing is a complete rewrite of the layer5.io site. The current version of the site is okay, or it kind of does its job, and it is based on Jekyll, and then it
Okay.
runs off of GitHub pages. So, which is nice because that's free. What we're doing here is preparing that site to be much larger in amount of content and richness and sexiness and professionalness and just all of the nesses. And so we're switching frameworks over
Yeah, yeah,
to
yes. Yeah, I remember Sister talked about it in the last meeting.
Oh, I see. Okay, good deal. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Gatsby based, and so question for Tanuj, of the animation that we have here. By the way, the colors look pretty great. The learn mores. Have you seen? I assume the intention is for those to take people into a page that describes that feature more in depth.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Now, one thing for us to contemplate a bit, for everyone on the call to contemplate a little bit, is the notion that there's a number of projects that we have. The largest of them that's been around the longest is Meshery, and it has the most to describe. Of what we're seeing on the page here, this is going to describe. I'm assuming that right now we have like 6 highlights. I'm assuming we could do 5, we could do 7. Like, this is as many as we'd like, or within a reason. But that, which is great because there's a lot to describe about Meshery. We are, I think, in a very good way, have Tanuja, if you could navigate to the other Meshery page that Josh has been pouring a lot of time into. In a really nice way, what we're finding already is that we have a fair bit of content planned, or a number of sections planned, that highlight some of the power of what the community has created. And it may be that, I think, in a really good way, that it doesn't all necessarily fit onto one page. Like, and so something for us to kind of chew on and think about, that this collection of content, this, if you scroll down a bit, Tanuj, like these individual sections, I think they do a great job of highlighting the various value propositions that Meshery as a project has, and they're pretty good. Like the animations, that the 2 animations, Tanuj, that you were just demonstrating, that you've been working on, it may be that, like the first one with the long scrolling terminal, if you go to the top of the page, this long scrolling terminal, this might be well suited for, like maybe this isn't on the landing page for Meshery. Maybe this is more of like, hey, when you click getting started, this takes you through a really quick, here's how you download Meshery CTL, and here's how you get it up and going. Maybe we would break it down based on whether you're deploying to Docker or whether you're deploying to Kubernetes, potentially. And that way, like, because what we have right now, if you scroll down a little bit, what we have right now is it does what I'm saying. It goes through the install. That's good. And once it gets done with the install, it starts to get into value proposition around um, around detecting patterns and best practices and helping you implement those. And so, in some respects, we're kind of, it's not like it's a bad thing, but we're sort of intermixing installation and functionality into the same thing. And so, as we consider, as we look at the other Meshry page and we look at the fact that we have any number of the features called out, it might make sense to lean in here on this animation, to lean in more heavily on the install and the deployment, and maybe leave off some of the features and let those be described elsewhere. That way, that way that we're not repeating ourselves. These application or the new animation that you have at the bottom that does bucketize features. Yeah. This is great. Like, it might be that, I know Josh, or there was a page that had, at one point we had a page that had 3 columns, I think, of features. It might be that, like, this animation and those 3 columns of features, they might do well to be on the same page, because it's really, anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we can try that thing.
But something to consider.
Yeah, I agree on the installation steps, because I kind of have a trouble installing on my virtual machine because I didn't use Minikube. I used Kubernetes, and the instructions were a little bit confusing.
Yeah, between like the Helm v2 and the Helm v3 and the manifest, like you had like 3 choices in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I think if you look close, at least on Meshry.io, the Helm v2 and Helm v3 instructions, the commands, I think they're verbatim. I think they're exactly the same. So, yeah, that's good feedback, Eduardo. It could also be that, actually, to Eduardo's point, like this animation that we're looking at right now, we have it set up to describe features. That's great. It actually could be set up to show you what it's like to install with Brew, with Bash, on Docker, on Kubernetes. This could be a way of breaking up those instructions too. So, I don't know, interesting.
Yeah.
Any other feedback for Tanuj on these animations? Yeah, no. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Right. Thanks, Tanuj. Lee, did I interrupt you?
Nope.
Cool. Well, Josh, would you like to go next?
I guess Tanuj will just share his screen for that even.
Yeah, give me a second to get your branch ready.
I was just making a few gradient colors and such stuff for the landing page, and I tried to use the 2 greens and white and make a gradient for the landing page, and I implemented that. Header is like it is. I guess it is uh, blocking over on.
It's taking time to build. Just a second.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
All right.
something I'll show in the meantime because Neil, maybe I don't know. So Neil or Pratya he's not on today, I don't think. But
No,
a few of us have been having some discussions around the fact that one of the missions that we have in the community is that of education, I guess. It was that of like understanding that cloud native things can be confusing, particularly networking and service meshes. Like there's a lot in here, and usually to find, like as it stands right now, service meshes are somewhat of an advanced piece of technology when you compare that to Docker, containers, or to Kubernetes. And either the two of those can be advanced for people. So if this is like a third step, and because of that, there's just all kinds of need for tutorials and instruction and workshops. And that's certainly a theme and focus of the things that we do here. We'd been considering to build out more of that. One item that Shriti is working on is some interactive labs so that people can walk through those in a structured way. That will be helpful. We've been considering that there's really enough scenarios and sample applications and various ways of configuring service meshes that, well, all of that content could more or less deserve its own subdomain. So like learn.layer5.io. And so there's a few of us who've been meeting to discuss what that might look like and how to build that out. And I think we've kind of arrived at the notion that that subdomain would be built on the same site on Gatsby, on what we're looking at, what Josh and Tanuj have been sharing. There would be different a number of different components that would need to be built. So some different collections where people can walk through and do things on different service meshes, on different goals, like maybe their goal is around an advanced load balancing algorithm and how that works, and which one is the best choice, or there are hundreds of things for people to walk through. So I thought I would describe that while the branch that Tanuj is walking through is kind of compiling, in case that's an area of interest for others. So we'll get some things down on paper to describe the initiative better. But if you're familiar with like Google Code Labs, I'll put a couple of URLs into the Zoom chat to give you a sense of what it is that we're talking about or what we're envisioning. And here's the first one. And Tanuj, if you're ready, feel free to.
I guess Tanu just faced some problem with the Zoom. Uh,
Oh, okay.
I think we can. I'll just share a screenshot later on Slack for that. It's just a color change. I'll just move on to the next topic for now.
Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll just present a website I found where we can. Yeah. So is my screen visible?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically for landing or landing page of the Meshery, we need to have something like a background color and some text and two or three buttons on the left, and image, or if we do have two or three images, we can have something like this over the right.
I think we're all old enough now to know that that sex sells, and like that this is a sexy. Yeah. Yeah, there's, and I think we're all also old enough to understand that you can overuse PowerPoint animations. If you get my drift, that like just because you can animate something doesn't necessarily mean that you should. It can be distracting. I'm not suggesting that this site is overdoing it, but I'm just saying we'll need to do tasteful, style.
Yeah, so the thing is like it has a few like it is also built on let me just uh, yeah, so I the thing is like it's also built on React, and like I think we can like there are a few things available for free from this website, like a few animations or components. And so I was just having a look on what all things we can just like there are a few if we not talk about the animation, still there are a few things which are like very good we can use in our uh,
Yeah.
website.
Does anyone disagree with this general suggestion? Does anyone?
So I did have a suggestion like for now for the testimonials part, we do have the I'll just yeah. So currently we do have something like this for the testimonials, and like if we wish to incorporate around 4 to 5 more, and so I had a suggestion of something like this in on the testimonials part, like it's a type of collage or something, but like it shows all of those in a single slide, or I can say like if it's important, not only that, not like not specific to testimony, any other component, any other page or something where we can like we need to have data shown in such a manner, then
Totally. Yeah. For my part, I mean, I'd love to hear from others, but I think it's a great suggestion. There's a number of uses for a collage. One of those is that we've been a community now for a year and a half or so, and there's been all kinds of really cool things that have happened. People have gotten jobs, people have gotten certified, people have spoken on stage, people have written books, they've done like and we have lots of photos and screenshots and tweets and all these things. And actually, just if you think about exposing those in a collage as different events and the different accolades that have occurred, that's a cool use for this as well.
yeah, like for the community page, like we have just migrated it from the current website, so like we could definitely have like 2 3 or 4 people from our community who have like someone who has been a matchmate or someone who has spoken for an event can just share like 3 4 to 5 lines, and we can just have a collage something like this.
It really is. So on that, actually, it's a good call out actually for anyone who's interested in what we're talking about right now. Is we've actually had an ask out there for some time. We've got a folder full of pictures and some tweets and some cool things that have happened to people, some project milestones and things like that, news articles that have been written about the works that you all have done. That are we've got a collection of things that we're ready to put into a format like this. Could be that a couple of people partner up on it to the extent that maybe there's someone who's more visual in nature and someone who's wants to focus on the React. But Josh, this is a great eye, man. I mean, like there's a ton of things on this site that I think would work really well. So if you're interested, please mention it in the channel or ping Josh, or I know Shridi's been on a what do you call it, a manhunt for someone to take that on.
To work with Gatsby and start building the site or the design?
Could be either. Or yeah,
Could
go
be
ahead.
either, and specifically for a UI designer or somebody who could help us get started at least. Does that make sense?
Well, I would, yeah, it makes sense for me in the React part. I'm not good with the design, but I would like to jump in and help.
Noted. I will definitely come and have a see about it very soon. All right. If anybody else wants to help out with that or the UI design, please do ping me or please do speak up here. Either is fine. Josh, is this done?
Yeah, so this was also the last thing I will just would like to poke to Lee, because we were talking just a second about the learn layer 5, and we did like we will be having some tutorials, and we did have a separate meeting for that, but we discussed something like, so like for video lectures or something similar to this we could like implement for that too.
Yeah, right. Oh, nice. I mean, yeah, right. I don't know what else to say other than just like, yeah, that seems like a pretty decent fit, because you can see that like there's a total number of tutorials, like so 40. The first one takes you 54 seconds or what, like obviously it would take longer than that for us, but that on the left-hand side, where it says new Figma handbook, you would be describing that category of tutorials, which is kind of interesting to think about, because a lot of the ways in which we'll deliver a workshop on service meshes, we'll usually talk about general concepts of service mesh as a technology, and then we typically use a specific service mesh and walk through it and walk through a sample app and things. Like I could certainly see the workshops that we give falling right into across categories like this.
Ayush, could you?
Yeah, this is a gold mine. Josh, we may have to get a subscription or something. What is the pricing like? Oh, free. Okay, that looks great. But cool. So this is React based, and yeah, the visuals are pretty awesome. It'd be interesting to understand how much of the visualizations are provided as well. Oh, right there, I guess the UI icons illustrations. Huh? Interesting.
I think they also give you the source code on the website, the Figma file along with it.
Speaking of Figma, hey, actually, Augustine, thanks for mentioning that. I was making some very ugly things in Figma over the weekend, which really helped actually in the Meshery UI. By the way, After Effects, that's exactly what I was going to talk about. So Shriti listed out the 5 different websites that are going on, and there will be a 6th, hopefully soon, called learn.layer5.io. But everyone should also note that Meshery itself is React based. It uses Next.js, and it generally doesn't require as much. It's more focused on functionality, and JavaScript programming, React programming, than it is necessarily gradients and CSS and other things. So just FYI, like that, there's a whole bunch of needs inside of that project as well. So anyway, the Figma that I was working on had to do with Meshery's UI, but I wanted to ask on that subject: is anyone here? Does anyone here have experience with After Effects? I know Tanuj was getting familiar and digging in a little. Anybody else have their hands on After Effects?
This Augustine. I have little understanding of After Effects. Though I'm taking a course with a motion design school, so I can try my hands with it.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, this could be a good excuse for you to try your hand at a couple of new ones, and then actually have your work up and posted publicly. There's a Tanuj, do you want to tell people about Lottie a little bit?
Yeah. So Lottie is basically like a plugin from Airbnb. So what you were talking about the motion graphic stuff. So what you actually do is, like in motion graphics, you use the Adobe Illustrator file uh, directly in After Effects to create a motion graphic. So what Lottie enables us to do is that it provides a plugin sort of, so you can export that graphics as a motion graphics as a Lottie file, and that can be directly used in the site.
Uh, just could you probably just show letter.co that uses Lotte animation?
Yes. So, so Augustine, no sweat, huh? Just that looks like a lot. I mean,
So like the animation that came up first, that was like a Lotte animation. This one, which is like built frame by frame.
wow. Whoa. Yeah, those are impressive. So the Shivai, so letter.co is an example site of what can be done using Lottie. At least this first
Yeah.
animation is Lottie. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know? I assume like some of the other animations that are here, are those Lottie as
A
well?
few of them are simple like videos. So
Oh,
those, for example, this one, if you just scroll a bit above, yeah. So this one is just a video
I see.
rendering.
Okay.
A few of them are like a collection of frames, as you're telling.
Interesting. All right. Nice. Good. So yeah, I mean, so since Shriti got out the meat hooks earlier and sunk them into Eduardo, Augustine, maybe I can borrow those meat hooks, put them into Augustine.
Sure.
Yeah, Augustine, there's a lot of need for visualization and yeah, you yeah, any help is welcome. So nice.
I think
Do my
we do
best.
have a couple of new folks even on this call currently.
Oh yeah. That's right. We have a mobile phone that has joined us called Galaxy A10.
Uh,
Cool. Thank you for that, Tanuj and Josh.
Yeah. Who's next is uh, proposal for new design for partners page. So for the new design for the partners page, I'll just show what we do have currently for the partners page. Yeah, so this is the current partners page on the Layer5 website. And I think we can just improve this. Like what I was thinking of it is very much similar to the uh, animated terminal sort, but like it's like it would be tabs on the left hand side with icons, and like for each tab you click you will get the uh, what I can say is we will get the definition or a short description for that particular partner and such thing. I'll just poke the contributor working on this with this design, and let's see how we can go on. So are there any suggestions, other suggestions, like how can we represent this data or feedback on my idea?
One thing to consider is that the partnerships are broken down into two categories today: those that are a technology partnership and those that are an academic partnership. That might be a good element to try to, persist and kind of continue to capture. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I think a lot of times that, if you were to capture that, if you were to, the animation that Tanuj was showing earlier that had 6 different features, it might be that you would have academic partners and technology partners, and then show the list of those, like those 2 different sections. For the most part, I think like if you visit other sites that have partner pages, I think generally you'll find that it's more about the list and a link over to how to contact them, or a link to something that describes the partnership, but that there generally isn't a ton of content, like pages and pages describing all of the ways in which the integration is done. And so, yeah, so it's
Yeah,
actually,
so I'll just correct. So like I I'm talking like we don't need to have those animations as per the animated terminal. It would be like a, it would be very much similar to the list. On the left column we would have all the icons listed vertically, and like uh, all of them would be tabs, and for each of them the description would open up on the right. So like it won't be something like you scroll and you just switch over the partners or something like that.
anybody else have an opinion? I mean, that makes sense to me. Nice. Nice. Good.
Okay, moving on. Lee, I think you're up.
Okay. So last time there was just a couple of minor topics that we kind of ran out of time for. And one of the topics, I think, I'm trying to recall, I don't know that it was Vinayak, but it may have been, There's another individual, remind me, there's another individual in the community. We were just chatting this weekend in Slack, and we were noting that we currently have a button component, but the button component that we have doesn't have many attributes to it, that component could be enhanced to have a hyperlink attribute, a title attribute, an alt attribute. And I can't remember who in, so I have to go. Oh, Hirikesh. Yeah, okay. Or Hareshikesh. Code theorem, I think. But yeah, cool. Okay, so no need to talk about that as much. It was just sort of acknowledging the fact that we're going to use buttons in a lot of places, and we're going to be repeating ourselves a lot with an underformed component. So on the next item that I had, it was a little more interesting, and it was recognizing that, well, there's another animation up for consideration. If you click on the How It Works link, there was a couple of recent projects that were announced from HashiCorp. They're both open source. One of them is called Boundary. They have this nice How It Works animation. So if, yeah, I think it's boundaryproject.io. When we get there, it'll be on the left-hand side, about a third of the way down the page. So yeah, right here. So what's happening is as you scroll up and down right here, you have this circular kind of walkthrough of capabilities of the project. And so it might be nice to leverage that component. Actually, it would be really nice. There's a number of things to describe. So there's an open challenge for anyone that wants to pick that up, is that there's a component over there that if, while all of the content, like what we wanted to say and the steps, we don't have written down just yet, but we certainly have steps to write down and things to show that it would be nice to investigate whether or not it's easy enough to migrate that component over. So there's a link to it in the meeting minutes if anyone wants to give that a shot. And Ruth was just asking for meeting minutes, so I'll.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Actually, Lee, I've started to work on it a little bit. Can I share my screen?
Oh yeah. Oh, now I'm getting excited. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It's actually saying you cannot start screen share while okay. Okay, so I have started to work on it, and I've migrated most of it, and there are a couple of problems that I'm facing right now, which I guess is because it's currently a work in progress. So like, first of all, this thing is not sticking up, and which is because originally in the Bonded project, they're using a different strategy to do it. And I guess we will have to implement a different thing for it. And so if I like scroll down, you can see it has actually started to work. The components are rendering conditionally. I have to like work on the arrows to make them render conditionally. Other than that, if you could see, if you were able to see, it's actually rendering those icons conditionally right now. So basically, I'm able to pick on which part of the section it is right now, and according to that, render a component. So I guess by today or by tomorrow, I will be able to like make a more finished thing, because right now it's a work in progress.
Wow. That's wow. I didn't Vinayak, I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Can you tell us the I guess the contents of the visual graphic? Is that what is that? Are the lines individually Is this a bunch of SVGs put together over?
Yes, it's basically a bunch of SVGs which are rendering according to the time transitions, and like the icons, basically changes the background to something else. It's basically that.
Okay.
I actually had to talk with you, and you like shared that boundary project link of that component, and I basically worked with it for the most part. But they used a kind of different strategy for rendering the components conditionally. They used a different something library for it, but it can be done without it. So I'm just trying to do it without it, and I think it is easy to like do it without the thing they used.
And say, I don't. If you remember it, can you say the name of the thing that they used to render again?
Okay, basically, they're like first of all they're conditionally rendering the components. Okay, so they've used something as something class name, and I was unable to understand what it is. I mean, the normal class name for a component is a different thing, but they had something like class name inside a class name, which was not working with our project. So I had to like remove those that part of the code, and without that also it is working. I just need to make this thing stick to the to the site, and that's all. Rest is like rendering them conditionally according to the position of our section.
I don't have anything more intelligent to add. That's great. I mean, we're having a little bit of a similar struggle with respect to animation timing on the animated terminal page as well. Actually, I think the
Okay.
timings are fine, but some of the but I think some of how they have timed the well timed the different animations is somewhat fragile or somewhat static to the overall height of the page itself. Kind of like you were just noting, like some of the animations don't invoke until you get like almost off the page. And so
Yeah, right. Like until and unless I come to the authorized section won't light up. Then if I go back up, yeah, we can adjust those. I guess it won't require that much of struggle. It's basically they've added some margins over here, and if I like change them, I can change them right now. It will just basically bring the authorized section a little bit up, but the problem then would be that we would have authentication and authorize at the same screen, on the same screen. So that is a different issue then, because at that point of time it will have a conflict between 0 and 1, to which component they have to render.
anyone else have anything to add on this?
Also, in this, I would like to point one thing out. As you can see, they are using this orange color over here. I think we need to like remap all this, like the content and the colors and the icons they have used. Like,
Sure.
that is very much needed for this. I guess you can work on that after I'm like done with the draft of this component.
Makes sense. Those colors, those are captured in the SVGs as well?
Right.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. That work might ensue, after you're done. Nice. Thank you for this, Vinayak. That is nice. Nice.
All right. Is that it for today?
I have one final thing, if no one else has something.
I was going to
I
show
just
the
had
Meshy
one question.
documentation, but go ahead. That's the
Oh,
much better.
no, go ahead.
It was just
Yeah,
the
just wanted to know, like, was there any work right now that is pending with the menu, like the
Yeah, Shivai, great question. And there's actually a small video that's been recorded to outline some of the, well, I don't know if you want to call them bugs, but some of the challenges with the mega menu is that it's all too easy to invoke the mega menu, and then in process of like moving your mouse over to click on a menu item, like for the menu to like flicker, for you to lose focus and the menu to go away, kind of flicker.
okay,
And Tanuj had, is like part of the way through addressing those, but he has a PR up that I'm sure he would be more than happy to have some assistance on.
okay. I'll speak to Tanuj then after this call.
Shriti, thank you, Shivai. Go ahead, Shriti.
it's just a small demo, I suppose. The PR has already been merged, but if somebody has any ideas for improvement, please do it. Um, so we basically just replace the hyperlink colors, and it comes up with a meshy green now. If it doesn't look good, go ahead. Recommend other changes or colors that we could do with this.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Nice. Okay. The last item was just I put a link into the Slack channel. There's a collection of individuals who are dedicating probably a heavier focus of their time to a project that we call Mesh Map, and it uses Cytoscape JS, which this is a project that some of you are either working on or are quite familiar with and have helped out on in the past. And so I figured since there's a number of newcomers on the call, and because we mostly focused on the Layer5 IO site, and we didn't necessarily talk that much about Meshery UI or some of the other projects, that I would call this one out as well. Everyone should have access to the links, that one that Shivai had shared. There's another small prototype demo of what that project looks like. But in case it strikes an interest for anyone, you're welcome to that project as well, although I'll ask for a commitment from you to actually engage and to deliver a few things. Else, maybe stick with the other projects because we're engaging in earnest on Mesh Map, because it'll be pretty important. It'll be heavily used, heavily referenced. So, speaking of things getting heavily referenced, there are one of the projects on the Layer5 IO site is the landscape, which has a bunch of data, shows people, tells people about the different service meshes that are out there, and it's been community. I mean, all of this has been community curated, but the landscape in particular, each project representatives from each of these service meshes, they have come and updated the page. So it's hopefully as accurate as can be in terms of them having provided the data. We're slowly but surely like working on visualizing much of what is otherwise maybe more details than the eye can consume. Gerald, I don't think he's on the call right now, but he's been working on the next version of that in the Layer5 NG, and it's shaping up. Although it doesn't yet have any new visualizations, it has the same ones. And so yeah, there's another another kind of challenge out there around visualizing some data. And I brought this up to say that it gets well referenced is why I was bringing it up. Part of that reference is going into a book that's coming out shortly. It's actually kind of in final review at the moment, but I figured I'd show a couple of things that, like, hey, this is an O'Reilly book, and so Meshery is going in there, and we're describing some of the new capabilities that are there. The landscape gets called out, I think, I don't know, 4 times. I can't, this thing isn't indexed, so I can't, whoops. But Meshery itself gets called out like in the book quite a bit. So it's pretty great. This is, I think most of you are familiar or would recognize that this is a screenshot of Meshery itself. It's actually so in Meshery, by the way, we said that, hey, it's React, Next.js, etc. It also incorporates use of Billboard.js. So these charts that are in the screenshot here are using Billboard.js. So a lot of technologies, a lot of front end things going on. But good. So yeah, that's all for me.
That's all then. Thank you for coming in, everybody. See you next week.
1 second, Ayusha, just a quick question. Can I know where can I be assigned a meshmate? Like, I just want to figure out some things.
Totally. Yeah, Ayush, is that more of a front end oriented meshmate or a back end oriented meshmate? If that's so.
Actually, like, I haven't like been into the particular, but I think either work would fine. I just want to like know what are the areas which, like, as a community we're working on, so that I can like, start at things I might be interested. And I want to contribute at Hacktoberfest as well, so that will like collide.
That makes sense. Let me ping you a link to the Meshmates page. You can find it on the Layer5 site as well. And you can choose one.
That would be awesome. Cool.
All right. Thank you for coming in, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. See you guys next time.